Hello, friends of Canadian Cutting Edge. Today I've got a knife to share with you from Sanrenmu. They call this Life in Geometry. Yes, there's a geometrical shape here. Tanto blade's got angles. It actually is a very cool little knife that has some really neat innovation in it that I'd like to share with you. It's a good size. I've got a large size hand and it fits well and comfortably in my hand, and it's usable in my hand for actually doing some fairly hard tasks. And yet it's a good weight, comfortable, I mentioned comfortable, and kind of cool. And I'd like to share that with you today. The coolness factor has something to do with this thumb stud. Stick around, come on down to the tabletop with me and we'll take a good look at this. I've had to zoom in a little closer than I normally do on my videos because, yeah, this is a smaller knife. It's the Sanrenmu 70, let's take a look at that right there, 7049 LTE-PK. And designed by, and I can't make out that name, and I've written to Sanrenmu, and they just aren't getting back to me like they used to, and I don't know who that designer is. If any of you have found out who that designer is, please let me know, because this is, in a lot of ways, a pretty cool knife. Sanrenmu puts their name on the handle right here. Nice job. I like it. It's got this soft FRN-ish style handle scales. I believe it's FRN. It's certainly not G10. You've got 8 CR13 MOV steel on the blade. Nice full-size liners, cut out for these triangles, of course. And you've got a carabiner type clip on it, so you can clip it onto a bag or whatever, what have you, and that actually functions also as a bottle opener when you can pry open a bottle that way. Works really well. And if you just leave that closed, you can actually put a lanyard on here if that's what you wanted to do. It's only going to come out if you push that spring down, and that spring actually has a fair degree of tension on it. I don't think you'll accidentally lose a lanyard if you put one on there. So it's got those triangle cutouts that I mentioned. It's got all these angular lines on it. It's a liner lock. The liner lock disengages very easily and very well because they give you all that cutout right there for it, and very functional. The lockup on that liner lock is pretty much perfect. For a brand new knife, that's where I want them to lock up, just fully engaged with that liner, but not too far to the right. And the blade centering, look at that. That is perfect blade centering. And I played with this knife quite a bit. It's very free and easy to flick. No problem at all. And when it's locked, it's got no blade play up or down, side to side. Very nice and solid. Some cool jimping in there. You've got a hollow grind on the tanto here and a little flat grind on the tip. It's a drop point with a nice wedge and enough generous flat area here for your clamps to hold onto this knife to sharpen it if you use that kind of system. The pivot you can access with a regular torque screw, and I've not needed to, but you can adjust it that way. And the scales come off with Torx as well. So that's the big overview of this knife. And if you just want that big overview, yeah, you've got a really sharp blade there. This tanto works very well. You've got a nice little sharpener's choil there. And it cuts really well. Here's my perennial wire from a mouse, and it cuts through that better than a lot of my big knives do. And it just, no problem in let's focus down there, no problem at all in cutting with the tip of that knife. I can't really cut on the angle because this touches the table, so I can't cut on this flat area on a table. The tip only touches. So you have to use your tip if you want to cut that way. And you can see right here very well that there's copper and metal in there. Here we go, paracord. You can count that. 4 layers of paracord, and zip, cuts that apart, no problem. And again, the paracord, it cuts apart very well, very easily. Tip of that tanto is very functional that way. Came quite sharp from the factory. I'm left with just a few inches of this cordage. I'm going to try to be able to do 2 more cuts with this, not cordage, this belt, 1.5 inches thicker than a seat belt. This is probably the second last cut that I'll be able to do with it. Hopefully my other stuff will come in the mail soon, please. And let's grab it and do a slice. Are you ready? Here we go. Right through, no problem at all. Nice clean cut. I've got a large size hand. So anybody with extra large hands, you're going to find this quite small. But the average person with medium-sized hands, this is very adequate size, nice and comfortable knife. So what are the sizes? Since I did the cutting first, well, we've got 64 grams. That's only 2¼ ounces. When it's closed, it's 9.5 centimeters, which is 3¾ inches. When it's open, you've got 16.5 centimeters, which is 6.5 inches, and my blade here is 3 inches. At least that's what the book says, 7.8 centimeters. Let's take a look. Put the tip right there on the 1 inch. Wow, 3 inches is being really generous, isn't it? It's not a 3-inch blade. From the tip to, here's 3 inches way back here. And so 3 inches right to the center of the pivot. So if you're allowed to have a 3-inch, if you are allowed to have a 3-inch knife and you're allowed to have a locking knife, hey, this guy works for you because he's less than 3 inches on the blade. So those numbers that I was given off the internet aren't quite correct. I'm still waiting for Sanrenmu to have their website up. They had their sign up that they're working on a new site for a long time. I can't wait till they're done with it. I bought mine at GearBest. A little bit less than $10 US gets you this really nice knife, free shipping, and I like it a lot. It's fun to just play with and flick around. No problem at all. It's got brass washers. I can see them on both sides, and it's got brass washers on that pivot. Very comfortable. Now, here's the fun part that I've been waiting till the end for. I'm going to have to try to zoom in and get this. Come on, zoom. Zoom, buddy. Come on, camera. Zoom. Focus. There we go. See that little ball there? That ball is on the thumb stud. And see how the thumb stud has that space there? Well, you push that thumb stud in. Did you see that? Look right up in that area there. The liner lock also functions as a blade lock. So the blade is locked closed when it's, if you got this just hanging in your pocket or whatever, or hanging on a bag or something, the blade's not going to come open unless this gets pushed in and then you lift out. So that's a really cool design. It's got a special detent ball down in there that's hard to see, that's holding the blade closed and locked unless you release the lock, push that liner lock over. Get this thing to focus again. Come on, there you go. You release the lock and lift up. And it's actually much easier. You can get used to it pretty quick. When I first got a knife like this, I thought the thing was broken. And I actually, I took it apart, this thing. I thought, what's it? It's loose for? They bad manufacturing. And to me, it just wasn't as obvious as this one is on how that worked. And so I destroyed that knife. It was also one from Sanrenmu. So I've ordered a replacement that I paid for out of my own pocket. I didn't ask the company to do it because it's my fault that I wrecked it. And so I've got another knife from Sanrenmu that's got that same system on it, which is really a very skeletonized knife to save on weight and still have that safety of that little mechanism. Now, have you seen that mechanism anywhere else? Did they take a look at some other company and find that mechanism? Or does this look like something you've never seen before? If this is unique to Sanrenmu and maybe this designer, I'd really like to know about that. So if you've seen this before in that kind of lock before, I really want to know about it. So what do you think of this knife? If you like it, go and buy one. $10, free shipping. GearBest has got your back, man. If you can get it in black, you can get it in this dark gray. There's a lighter gray. There's a tan color. There's a darker brown, darker than the tan color. And I've even seen on some sites a black handle scales with a black coated blade. Otherwise, you've got the satin blade that's really, really nice. At GearBest, they've got 4 different options. I think the one that I'm holding right now is sold out already. But, they've got the brown, the tan one, black, dark gray. So you can get yourself one of these, no problem. And I'm sure they're going to stock again. This design was released in the middle of 2013, so it's just over 3 years old. And I really like it. I can just sit there and just sort of flick it all day. You just put a little pressure in and you flick up. Because the blade, once the liner lock is released, is nice and free. It just falls, and they did a great job with those bearings on there, and it's just very free. And the knife will just easily close. It's not like a $100 knife, that free, or $200 custom. I mean, you're not going to get a custom for $200. If you can find a custom for $200, let me know. It's not like as free and drops down like those really expensive knives, but for a $10 knife, this is executed very, very well. So what do you think? Share with your friends, like the video. Please click on subscribe here at the bottom of the screen. And thanks for stopping by. Remember, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.